You woke up this morning, went to get gas, and noticed the price was higher than yesterday, and the day before that, and the day before that. So, what is actually happening? And more importantly, how high is this going to go? Right now, the US is 5 days into a war with Iran. And while most people are focused on the military action, the bombs, the ships, the death toll, there is a parallel story unfolding that directly hits every single American in the wallet. Gas prices are spiking. Not slowly, not gradually, fast. Here are the real numbers. Before this war started, the national average for a gallon of unleaded gas was just under $3, about $2.997. That was actually something Trump was bragging about. In his State of the Union, he pointed to gas under $2.30 in some states as proof the economy was thriving. That was less than 2 weeks ago. As of Tuesday this week, the national average jumped to $3.11 in a single overnight move, an 11-cent spike. That's the biggest single-day increase since Hurricane Katrina devastated the Gulf Coast in 2005. Monday was even worse in the crude markets, with oil surging more than 12% in one day, before settling up around 6%. So why is a war in Iran making your gas more expensive when the US produces more oil than any country in the history of the planet? That's the question everyone's asking. And the answer comes down to one narrow strip of water you may have never thought about before this week: the Strait of Hormuz. It's a waterway roughly 21 miles wide at its narrowest point, sitting between Iran and Oman. And through that little gap passes roughly 1/5 of all the oil consumed on Earth. 1/5 every day. Tankers carrying millions of barrels of crude squeeze through that corridor on their way to refineries in Asia, Europe, and beyond. It is, as one economist put it, the aorta of the global oil system. And right now, it is essentially shut down. The shutdown didn't happen because Iran physically blockaded it with warships. It happened because Iran told every ship trying to pass through that it would be set ablaze. An RGC commander made that announcement the day the war started, and that was enough. Shipping companies do UNT need to see a ship actually get hit. They just need to know the risk is real. Insurance premiums for tankers in the region had already hit a 6-year high before the war began. Now the insurers have effectively pulled out of the corridor entirely. The result is that about 80% of normal traffic through the strait has stopped. Not slowed, stopped. The ships sitting offshore aren't moving. Some have turned their tracking systems off to avoid being targeted. Now, here's the counterintuitive part. The US gets relatively little oil directly from the Middle East. We're energy independent in the sense that we produce massive amounts domestically, more than anyone else on the planet. So why does this affect us? Because oil is traded in a global market. The price of a barrel of crude oil is not set in Texas or North Dakota. It's set on international markets where buyers and sellers from every country are competing. When supply drops anywhere in the world, the price goes up everywhere in the world, including at your local gas station. The estimates for where this goes from here vary, but the real numbers from analysts are actually specific enough to be useful. Patrick DeHaan from GasBuddy, who's one of the most widely followed gas price analysts in the country, says Americans should expect an average increase of 10 to 30 cents per gallon in the next few days, and that some individual stations could see prices rise as much as 85 cents. Ken Medlock from Rice University S. Baker Institute has a simpler formula for every $10 increase in the price of a barrel of oil. Gas prices rise by about 25 cents. Hedagadom. Goldman Sachs raised their oil price forecasts for Q2 this week. They're now expecting Brent crude, the international benchmark, to average $76 a barrel for the second quarter. That's $10 higher than their previous forecasts. And that assumes the Strait of Hormuz disruption lasts about 5 more days before a gradual recovery. But here's their warning. If this drags on for 5 weeks, they say Brent could hit $100 a barrel. Bank of America, as commodity strategist, went even further a prolonged disruption could spike Brent anywhere from $40 to $80 per barrel above current levels. What does $100 oil mean at the pump? The last time we saw $100 per barrel was right after Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022. Gas prices nationally hit an all-time average of $5.016 per gallon by that June. Some states saw over $6. If this war stays hot 4 weeks, we could be looking at a return to those levels or beyond. There's also an important second-order effect most people aren't talking about. It's not just about filling up your car. When fuel prices rise, transportation costs rise. Trucking, shipping, aviation, it all goes up. And that means the price of groceries, goods, basically anything that was moved from somewhere to somewhere else gets more expensive. One Republican operative working on midterm campaigns told NBC News this week that if the gas price spike sustains, the political fallout could be devastating. And his reasoning was blunt. Grocery prices are already high, housing prices are already high, and if energy prices follow, there's no floor on the inflation problem. The Trump administration is aware of the political risk. On Tuesday, Trump announced that the U.S. International Development Finance Corporation will insure tankers trying to get through the strait and floated the idea of Navy escorts for commercial vessels. Whether that actually restores traffic remains to be seen. For now, the honest answer to the question of how high gas prices will go is, it depends entirely on how long this war lasts. Short conflict, quick resolution, minus 20 to 30 cents more per gallon, maybe back down in a few weeks. Extended conflict with continued strait disruption, you're looking at $4, possibly $5 nationally. And if Iran manages to seriously damage oil infrastructure in Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, or the UAE, the upper bound gets genuinely terrifying. Watch the strait, not the missile counts, not the press briefings. The single best real-time indicator of where your gas prices are going is whether commercial tankers start moving through that waterway again. That's the number that matters.